Lay statements are an extremely useful addition to your VA claim. But here's a problem that we see often. A veteran submits a lay statement to VA describing symptoms or what happened in service, and then the medical examiner writes a report that does not address that information. That is often a VA error, and you may be able to fight it. The case to know here is Miller v. Wilkie, a 2020 decision from the U.S. Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims. Miller gives you a way to push back if your lay statement is ignored. First, a quick refresher about some key terms here. A lay statement is something that you or someone who knows you can say from their personal observation. For example, when your back pain may have started, how often that your migraines hit, what you experienced in service, how your spouse describes your sleep. You can't diagnose yourself unless you're a medical professional, of course, but you don't need a medical degree to report what you've felt and what you've experienced, and neither do those close to you. But what do you do if VA ignores this information? Here's an example. Say you submitted a statement explaining that you've had ringing in your ears ever since basic training, and the ringing has never stopped. This is valuable evidence because there may be no other sign or evidence or way to confirm the ringing in your ears. So next, you have your C&P exam with the VA. But when the exam report comes back, it only references your audiology records from after service. Your account of when the symptoms started, your lay report, is nowhere in the examination report. This is the gap that Miller addresses. VA has a legal duty to assist you with your claim, and part of that duty is providing an adequate medical examination. To be adequate, the examiner has to engage with the relevant lay statements in your file. The court in Miller said it plainly. An examination is inadequate if the medical professional fails to consider the veteran's own lay reports of symptoms. The examiner can't pretend that your account isn't there. And if the examiner does ignore a lay report and the board doesn't find you or the speaker not credible or not competent to say it, the proper remedy is a new exam. So what might this mean for you in practice? First, make sure you actually put your statement in the record. You can use VA Form 21-4138 to put your personal account in writing. There's also Form 21-10210, which covers witness statements from family or fellow service members. But technically, neither form, for its own form's sake, is actually required. You can simply submit a written statement to VA for inclusion in your record. Second, and speaking of the record, you want to request your claims file or your C file so that you can confirm what's in there, including your exam report and what the examiner said during your examination. You can file a request using VA Form 20-10206. VA's website actually recommends that you submit a request electronically through the VA Request Personal Records portal to get your file. Third, read examination reports carefully. Look for any mention of specifics from your lay statements, like the onset of symptoms, continuity of symptoms, or in-service events. If the examiner just lists records reviewed and skips your own lay account, that's a potential Miller problem. Fourth, raise the examiner's apparent oversight in writing, like in an appeal or in a supplemental claim. Remember to cite Miller, identify the overlooked statement, and ask for a new exam that considers the statement. Fifth, you can pair Miller with Steffel v. Nicholson and Neves-Rodriguez v. Peek. Those court decisions require examiners to have a clear rationale, not just a conclusion, that is based on the entirety of your relevant records. If you think you need help, contact CCK Law to tell us about your case. Take care.